everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a base game renovation. This house is the Creek Cabana that's in Willow Creek. One of the first things that I did was, instead of deleting everything that was on the lot, I deleted all the things that I knew that I didn't want at all, like the little kid dresser and some of the landscaping that was already outside, because I actually challenged myself with this build to stick to the 20,000 budget. And I also wanted to add another challenge, which was stick to base game only items. I lack very little impulse control, and especially in a game like The Sims 4, when I can just put in an easy cheat code and get all the money that I want, I tend to go way overboard when it comes to my spending and my lot budgets. And I know there are some simmers that don't really care about a budget and they also use the cheat code. Well, actually, when I'm playing the game on my own, I actually make my Sims lives miserable, and I actually give them 0 simoleons to start off with. But I know there are some simmers that do use, cheats to get their Sims ahead. But either way, I really wanted to challenge myself to stick to the starter budget. My budget was actually a little bit higher because I didn't start with 1 Sim, I started with 2. And I actually do have Sims living here, and I'll get to them in a little bit. But because I did have Sims here, when you place them on the lot, the value of the items on the lot decreased. So I didn't want to waste any money. So I just put all the items that I thought I might reuse in our inventory. So I was like, these are things that I don't have to spend more money on later, and I can just reuse them if I need to. And if I decide that I don't need to use them, I can delete them. The description of the original house says that this is the perfect starter family home, and I would agree, even though I feel like one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to this house is the lack of yard space, because I feel like people who are starting a family, they are looking for, space for their family to grow. And honestly, there isn't a lot of space for this family to grow. So I feel like this is definitely a house that's perfect for a couple that is literally short on cash and just needs somewhere to move in and just create a nursery. My other pet peeve with this house is how dark it is. So I really wanted to add more light to this house. And let me tell you, I did not realize how expensive lighting was. And so maybe that's the reason why this house was so dark. But I was literally running out of things to add to this house. So I was literally putting lights. I was using my simoleons for lights because for me, I needed light in this house. And I was kind of also thinking of it how some of the lighting could be used as decor. The way that I would play with this house originally, I would usually move in a single Sim, and she would live here by herself, and I would usually have them turn the spare room into an office, or even there have also been times when I would renovate this house and I would just get rid of the other room completely and just turn it into more space inside the house. I never really renovated it this way before, where I added an extra room or I bumped out a space, because I was really nervous about it taking up too much room outside, because I really did want an outside area for this house. In my mind, I kind of saw this house as almost like a rental. I don't feel like this is a permanent home where people are spending their money. And I kind of like to break up my neighborhoods as well as this neighborhood and the little clusters of houses around it. I feel I don't want to say it's the poor neighborhood, but it's the lower income household, or the working class households, I guess you could say. So I when I was doing this build, I didn't really see it as an actual house. I know we have the new for rent pack coming out, but I could honestly see this house being a rental. I don't know where other people live, but where I live, there are literal houses that you can get. They don't look like apartments, but they're basically owned by someone else, and they rent them out to other people. And that's how people are able to afford housing where I live at. And so I kind of saw this house as that as well. The Sims that I moved here, they're not a starter family, but it's a young adult woman and her teenage brother that she's technically raising up. And so I think that they actually started off with a little more than 200,000 simoleons. I think they started off with it was either 200,200 or it was 22,000. I can't actually remember. And I think at the end, I believe that this build actually did come up to a little over 200,000, which was a little bit over my budget, but you could easily bring that amount down by, I think I included like a microwave, and I think that's like 400 something simoleons, I believe. I could be wrong, but you could just delete that, or you could completely get rid of the second bedroom. You can delete the bed and the dresser, and or you could also delete the computer. But for me, I really needed the computer because it was essential to my Sims that are moving here, because the older sister has a desire to go back to college. In the way that I play, I kind of see her as going to a community college, even though we only have the Foxbury and what is it? I think it's Britchester or something like that. But in my mind, she's not going off to that. Like, she's not going off to college, because usually if I have my Sims going off to college, they actually go and live in the dorms. But because she's staying home, I kind of see her as going to community college. So I needed the computer. But if you do want to save some simoleons, you can definitely bring the lot value down by deleting some things. And it kind of makes sense, because I feel like because I have my Sims just moving in, it kind of makes sense for them not to have so much furniture. And I'm actually looking forward to playing with these Sims a little bit more and bringing more things in and decorating it. And at first, I was kind of nervous because I feel like this house was so empty, because I was using base game only, and I didn't realize how expensive the items, like the base game items, were. Like, they're either really cheap, but they don't really look that good. But like, the more things that look really nice and fill up the most space, especially in the clutter and painting, like, why are those things like so expensive? But I don't know. I kind of like the way that it looks, because it really looks like, they're like, these people just moved in. And yeah, so this house, it is on the gallery. If you want to download it, my gallery ID will be in the description down below. But it's also Whitney CX111. So the way that you could play with this lot is, you just have your Sims just move in. And the way that I would particularly play is I don't really plan on changing too much about the house. Like, I don't plan on changing anything in the bathroom. I don't plan on changing the appliances or the counters. I don't plan on changing the color of the walls, because when I have my Sims, like if I'm pretending that they're renting a house or they're living in an apartment, I kind of leave the walls and the flooring exactly as it is, because most people, when they're renting a place, like, you can't really do that. Even though I see it on TikTok all the time, like, people are starting to do that now, or they're doing these like rental friendly renovations. But I kind of like to, like, that's just the way that I like to play. And I will just like gradually like let them buy more things and leave some of the other things alone. One of the things that I'm really looking forward to, especially in the outdoor space that I have, is getting a workout equipment set for the teenage son, because, well, not teenage son, the teenage brother, because he does have a desire to get on the football team and maybe one day become like a pro athlete to help his sister out, because she's the one that raised them. I'm actually going to do a creative sim video on them. I don't know when, but it will be a little bit later, and we'll get more in detail with them. But for now, they are going to be living here on this lot. What inspired me to do this renovation is I've been playing, like, I tend to like go back and forth between all the Sim games. Like, sometimes I'm like super into Sims 2. Sometimes I'm super into Sims 3. Sometimes I'm super into Sims 4. And lately I've been super obsessed with Sims 2, because lately I've been doing more rotational gameplay and going between like the different families and playing with them for a few days. And I was like, how about I try doing that, but in The Sims 4? So one of the things that I decided to do was, because I think at the moment, I'm trying to think, we have the pancakes, we have the Galts, we have the Spencer Kim Lewis, and then we have the roomies, and I think that's only 4 families. So I did want to add maybe 1 or 2 more families into that mix, but I do plan on playing rotationally and playing out each story and, creating, intertwining like the different families together and just growing Willow Creek the way that I'm currently growing. I'm actually playing in Pleasant View in The Sims 2, and I've been having a lot of fun playing that. I don't know if I would even bring that to this channel. If that's something that you're interested in seeing, I will look into how I can record because I tried to record Sims 2 before, but because the graphics and stuff is so much different, it's like an older game, older software, and I'm playing on newer software. It kind of doesn't look right. And I actually do plan on playing rotationally here in Willow Creek on my own time. But if that's something that you're interested in me in seeing me do, like in a let's play or something, let me know in the comments and I'll think about recording that series as well. I'm currently doing the 100 baby challenge, but if you want to see me play rotationally, I might do that. I actually might do a series on that. You don't have to comment and let me know. I might actually do that. That might actually be fun. I was feeling really nervous because this is definitely not my type of style at all. Like, I love clutter. I love making my houses look cluttered and lived in. And I think I might actually do this renovation again, but just do it the way that I typically do it, which is include 100 different packs and spend like $60,000 on this little teeny tiny house, but I'm not going to do that right now. I think I'm just going to wait and like just pretend that my Sims had just moved in here, and eventually as they make more money, even though I feel like the family that I moved in here, they might like money might be a little bit tight, but I can't wait to see it grow and develop as, their life grows and develops. And there was a few times where I was like, I can't do this. I got to include another pack. I was like, there was times when I forgot to hit the base game only option when you like go in the build by catalog. And I was like, ooh, I really like this. But then I realized, oh no, this belongs to that pack. I can't use it. And there were times where I was like, I don't know, like I still need more things in this house and I'm running out of simoleons. And I was like, okay, maybe if I do this either or, I can either use other packs and stay in the budget, or I can go outside my budget and only stick to base game. But I'm really proud of myself that I was able to commit to base game only and the $20,000 budget. Like, there's still a part of my brain that's telling me that this house looks really, really empty, but I think it turned out okay. I don't think that I changed the layout of the house too much. It kind of looks really similar to me, and it was kind of weird. Like, I did have like this one format, but it looked, I don't know, like too crammed together. It actually looked like a little maze. And so I just felt like, the layout, that the more original layout, it kind of fit the house, like especially like the shape of the house, because it's a really weird long skinny shape. I do think I was able to create more space by giving it the little bump out. And so instead of the dining room and kitchen kind of being shared and being like smushed in together, I was able to create more space by having a kitchen all by itself. And I really like that it has a back door that leads to the outside space. Another issue that I kind of ran into was, I think with the with the layout that I tried originally, it kind of created a room that was like really small and a room that was like way too big, and I didn't really need all that space for that size room. And I think eventually I was able to get the rooms to a decent size for this house. Like with the master bedroom, you will have to have your Sims kind of scooch over, especially if you do want to have more things in the room. So I have the bed like right next to the wall. So yeah, if you have a couple that lives here, they're going to have to do that little annoying scoot thing. But for me, that's fine. I feel like there's a bunch of different ways you could live in this house. Like, you could just have like how I normally do, which is just have a single Sim and maybe turn the second bedroom into an office. You could have like a roommate situation, or if you want to stick to the description of the house and have like a single family. But I don't see like you have like having a huge family in this house. This house is definitely a starter family home. So yeah, I feel like if you are a family oriented Sim and they want to have a bunch of children, you would definitely have to move out of this house immediately because you're going to run out of space. By the end of this build, I was really happy with what I was able to achieve. I've been wanting to get to some base game renovations and staying in a certain budget for a really long time. And honestly, I have been procrastinating and avoiding it because I knew that it was going to be a challenge for me. Because, like I said, I am not good with budgeting at all. I'm not good at sticking myself to certain boundaries. But now that I've gotten like this first one out of the way, I'm kind of excited to see what else I can do with some of the other houses in Willow Creek. I'm also, of course, we also have Oasis Springs to get to. I'm not sure if I'm going to like make this a series, or I don't know, the next build I do might be something completely different, but eventually I do plan on getting to all of the Willow Creek houses, or all the base game houses at least. And then I think in the future, I would like to do some renovations the way that I would want to do it. Like now that I've done it, like I get into this space where like, especially when I start rewatching my speed builds, I'm kind of like, oh, I can't wait to do this again. And I can like use other packs and do it completely different. Or maybe in the future, I plan on just completely bulldozing this house completely and starting houses from scratch. Like I just like come up with all these different ideas for what I want to do. And that's why I love this channel, because I never run out of ideas for what I want to do. But if you have anything that you would like to see me build next, please let me know in the comments. We are approaching the end of the speed build pretty soon, but you have to stick around to the end because I will have either some screenshots or some footage or anything at the end so that you can see the build in its entirety, because I know sometimes when it's sped up like this, it can be kind of hard to see. I mean, there isn't a whole lot to look at because our house is kind of not, I don't want to say empty, but I feel like the way that I would describe it is it's more so like a move in ready type of house. It's not like fully decked out with clutter and decorations because no one's lived here yet. Like it's pretty much like set up in a way so like if the realtor or the landlord is showing his tenants or the people who might live here, like they have some like idea as to how to place their furniture, but it's not like set in stone. Like I feel like how I'm going to play with it eventually, like they'll start to make some more money and then they'll be able to make the space look like it's theirs and like it'll be a fit for their personality. But I feel like the initial build is more so as a way for the landlord to kind of like show it off, and maybe he's throwing in an extra 100 simoleons for the rent because there was furniture already here. But yeah, I appreciate you so much for building with me and sticking around to the very end. If you like this build or this video, feel free to like and share with anyone you think may also enjoy it. And if you want to see me do more base game renovations or just any other builds in general, or if you want to see like future Let's Plays, because I do plan on maybe doing some type of Willow Creek Let's Play in the future, then I would recommend that you subscribe so we can do all of those things together. But I'm about to end this voiceover here, and I hope to see you in a future video.